Hi, teammates. This is Sean J. McCall, and I am your host once again for this episode of the Eurostep. Got a great guest on tonight, and I'm to no further ado, I'm just going to get started right away. Before I start, though, please make sure you click on the comment section down below if you have a question for my guest during the episode. And if that everybody sees it like that, if you just want me to see it, then click on the speech bubble with the question mark, and only I see it, and I'll pull it up and see if I can ask your question live. So, with no further ado, I'm going to get started because I think we got a lot to talk about tonight with my guest. Travis Reed is my guest tonight. He was a standout basketball player at UCLA. For those of you that don't know, that's the college that produced many pros. One of the most famous, really one of the most famous college programs in America. He also played overseas in Europe. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about mental health stuff. We're going to talk about injuries. That was a little bit of his career as well. And also what he's up to now. So with no further ado, let's get it going. So let me add him in here. Mr. Mourinho. Okay, Travis is there. Any second now. Let's see if I can fix my thing. How you doing, Ashraf? Queen Tia, hi. Nice of you to join. Martin,
Oh,
I see you, buddy. So, are you in your car, man?
yeah.
So, Travis, thank you for coming on, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, Sean, man.
So,
Appreciate it.
I've already done your podcast, and now you're on mine. Would you briefly introduce yourself?
Yep. Well, I'm Travis Reed. Like he said, former overseas basketball player. Went to UCLA with Baron Davis, Earl Watson, Matt Barnes, Jerome. We see it was like 8 NBA guys on my team. Um, I finished at Long Beach State,
Mhm.
graduated from Long Beach State. Then I went to Bogota, Colombia, first place. But we'll get into the
Yeah.
Europe stuff. But I played 10 years overseas. Um, retired 10 years ago, exactly this year. So, now, on a different journey of life. You know, went through some things that we'll get into. So I'm just happy to be here.
Okay, man. That's all I need. So this should be more like a conversation than an actual interview kind of thing. Let me fix my camera a little bit. Okay. And we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna start out at UCLA. What I wanted to know is how did you get to UCLA? UCLA is a huge school. It's a crazy campus. It's a crazy basketball program since many years. What was it like for you coming out of high school being recruited by the likes of UCLA?
Oh, it was my dream school from the
Really?
jump. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, my father had the Pyramid of Success by
Oh,
John
John
Wooden.
Wooden, right.
Yeah, he worked at a Boys and Girls Club, and he had that painted on to the gym, so we saw it
Mhm.
every day, and he made us quote like one of the quotes every day as a team, or we had to run. So we knew, you know what I'm saying? Not prepared, not preparing is preparing to fail. I still remember that in my head like it ain't nothing. So, like we were the baby Bruins growing up, all the way up through high school. So my dad, was a huge fan of John Wooden. Um, I, so like I grew up UCLA. I watched Reggie Miller play, Tracy Murray play, Don McClain play. All these guys were my heroes. Growing up, all the way up to Ed and Charles O'Bannon, Toby Bailey. Just the UCLA has such a steep tradition. And if you're on the West Coast of California, you
There's no getting
know,
around.
UCLA is the school. It's like USC football for football, UCLA for basketball. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned like all those old players, um, that came from school and like how you watched them when you were younger. So you pretty much had no choice. You were going to UCLA. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If your dad's got the pyramid of success painted on the wall, you had no choice whatsoever but to go to UCLA. But you were talking about the old players, and the reason I went to Arizona was because Arizona was my school. Even though I was from Vegas and UNLV was the shit back then, Arizona was my school. And Sean Elliott, same name, same position, kind of same game. Very my level was much lesser than his, um, but that's the kind of thing that draws a kid. At least back then, there was no NILs or anything like that, so that's what drew me into University of Arizona because Sean Elliott was my guy. He was my college guy. And so I understand totally when you say that you were watching those guys and then you ended up going there partly because of that. So I totally get it. Who was the coach back then when you went there?
Actually, the first coach who UCLA actually sent me my very first letter ever.
I was
You
going to
know,
ask
when
you that. I was going to
yeah,
ask you that too.
UCLA sent me it was uh in the eighth grade. They sent me a letter in the eighth grade. So I was like, oh my God, this is my first letter. My dad had told me, like, son, if you work hard, it'll be many, many, many more of
Right,
these, but you got to work hard. This is the one, this is the one, obviously. So they sent me my first letter in eighth grade. Um, and like I said, it was Jim Herrick who recruited me
right,
first. And then what happened was um, he got in trouble with this, scandal, you
right,
know, uh, whatever it was, he got fired, Jim Herrick. And he had just came up and winning the national championship in 95,
right.
and I was like, well, I can't go there now because, Coach Herrick ain't there, and actually, like, I committed to Arizona, like that night. He got fired. It was all on ESPN, whatever. I called Arizona. The office is obviously closed. I called Arizona like I'm coming, period. Like, and they called me back, like 5 o'clock the next morning. Coach Olson, and the other assistant coach, it was like, oh, we're happy for you, Travis. Just make sure, you pass the test and we good, and, you know, I want to say about a week later, Steve
Steve Lavin,
Lavin
yeah.
called me. Yeah, he called me. He was like, Travis, we still want you. You're still a top priority on our list. And, we want you to come to UCLA. Just pass the test and you'd be good. And so there was no competition, like when it comes. I went on recruiting trips to other schools, but there was no competition between UCLA and anything else,
You had no choice but to go to UCLA.
Yeah.
Your pops would have shot you dead if you would have tried to go somewhere else.
Well,
So
like I said, I was gonna go to Arizona. I had a blast on my recruiting trip. Jason Terry and AJ Brownlet and Bennett Davidson were all like my hosts. Mike Bibby and Miles Simon, like they were all like I was there with them. And I was like, y'all was national champions and y'all like this. So for me, I was kind of like, man, I might go ahead. But like once UCLA confirmed, like they would still recruit me and all that,
then it was
I
over.
was like, yeah, it was like I'm gonna go back to UCLA.
Um, I was going to ask you the question about your first letter because everybody remembers their first letter. I can
Yep.
remember exactly where I was when I got it. I was in the coach's office. He handed it to me, and mine was Oregon State.
Uh,
And Oregon State stayed in my top 10. Then they moved down to my top 7, based solely on the fact that they were the first ones to send me a letter when I was in the ninth grade. I was in ninth
hmm
grade. And
hmm
solely on that. And what I wanted to know, now I know, okay, it was UCLA for you. So who was your second letter, and how long did they stay in your fray?
My second, it was funny because my second letter was like from Notre Dame, and then third letter was from Penn State, and like I liked them very much, but it was just too far for me to go. I wasn't used to the cold.
Mhm.
I wasn't trying to go where the snow was. I was
Cali
California
boy.
kid, even though growing up, my father was I was a military kid,
So you moved
so
around.
yeah, so we North Dakota, Sacramento, all these places, you know what I'm saying? So, um, like I moved different places, but I didn't want to like go to college anywhere else. I
Right.
mean, the funny thing is I love Jim Herrick so much that when he went to Rhode Island, I actually
You
thought
thought
about it.
about
He
going
called
there.
me, thought about going there. But I was like, I love you, coach, but I can't.
That's
I
far.
can't go.
Mhm.
It's too far.
Yeah. Your freshman year, I want to talk about your freshman year because I want to see if it was anything close to how mine was. Your freshman year, you get there. What was your first impression like the very first time you guys got on the court together? What, as a freshman, what were you thinking? I know
Well, for
exactly what I
me,
was thinking.
I, I said it's levels to this. That's exactly what I said in my head. It's levels to this. For me, I was going against, I thought, the best forward, the best big man in the country, and this dude named J.R. Henderson. He played in the NBA for a couple years. He played in Japan for a really long time. And Jelani McCord, he won 2 rings with the
McCoy,
Lakers. Yeah. Obviously McDonald's All-American in that great 95 class with all, Vince Carter, Antoine Jameson, all them, Kevin Garnett. Um, and I was like, man, this is, like, it's like, Lucy, you're not home no more, like, this is like this a whole other level of competition. And for me, UCLA is obviously known for those NBA runs where the pros come
right,
play
right.
in the summer.
In the
And
summer, yeah.
so, like, not only I was going against them one-on-one in
Going
drills,
against
I
pros.
was playing against the pros at UCLA in the men's gym. So Shaq was there, Kobe was there, Paul Pierce, any dude who was, like in the NBA at that time was there every day. So like you would get the schooling, Lamar Murray, obviously all the UCLA people, like it was insane with the pros. So like it was like a
Right.
baptism for me, like, okay, this is where I want to get to. So it's a whole nother level I got to get to this level.
Was it, did you struggle at the change of pace from high school to college?
Oh yeah, I think dudes are much faster, much, much stronger. Like it was the first time I realized grown man strength. I remember in the pickup games at UCLA, right? We I was playing against Jim Jackson, right?
I used to love him. He was
And
dope.
yeah, that's why I said, like, I was trying to back him down. I couldn't move him. I was like, I'm dribbling. I'm trying to back. He's like this. No, nah, young fella. You ain't gonna back me down. And I was like, dude, I can't back him down. So I ended up shooting like a fadeaway or something. I'm like, God damn,
No,
excuse me.
go
I
ahead.
was like, yeah, it's a whole nother level of like, like
Yeah,
strength, out here compared to what I was in high school, like where kids didn't really lift weights and
yeah,
that kind of stuff. They
yeah,
played off
exactly.
natural
I
ability.
got
So like the
I got a
speed
story.
too.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, speed too was like got like big dudes was like shh,
Yeah.
like I mean he run like a gazelle, man. Like like it was just different. But like you can go ahead with your story.
I got a story as far as the kind of speed and just the whole difference and also the weights. I tell a story actually all the time. I got two stories. The first story is I remember like the very first time we were on the court. That was the year it was me, Damon Stoudemire, and Ray Owens were the freshmen, and then they had Khalid Reeves, they had Chris Mills, Sean Rooks, Wayne Womack, Matt Othick, and so it was a really bona fide squad. And I remember seeing Damon play that first day and thinking, "Damn, this dude is fucking good. This dude is a pro." Like I thought right away, this dude is going to be an NBA guy. The second story I got is um, I came in as a really super cocky freshman, shit talking. I was disrespectful. I was, I was not, I was not dope my freshman year, right? So, I quickly got my nose busted from Chris Mills with an intentional elbow. Broke my nose first day of practice, and I tell that story because I think back to my freshman year, and I wasn't shit. I wasn't shit, man. But I came in there talking all kind of smack, and I wasn't shit. I
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
shit. And I think like, dude, what the fuck was wrong with you back then? Because you got recruited by UCLA. I got also recruited by UNLV, Wake Forest, USC, Arizona State. I got hit up pretty hard as well, you know? And you go through the recruiting process and your head gets this fucking big, right? Everybody's telling you how fucking good you are and you're gonna be the next man. I was the next bench rider. Like, did you have any moment where you were just like, yo, this is just I suck.
Oh well, no. Look, I would tell you, I would tell anybody this. Like I said, going against Jared Henderson every day, he was fucking destroying me. You know what I'm saying? It was like you know what I'm saying? I was like, God damn, I'm playing like the best defense I can play. You know what I'm saying? This nigga's still busting my ass. You know, I'm like all up in his face. Up, fake, jump shot. Up and under, up, scoop shot, layup. I'm like, God damn, son. Like, I'm sorry for cussing, but
All right, go
that's
ahead,
how I
man.
felt.
We good. We
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So, you know, it was a situation where I had to learn because I was, you know, if you want to say quote unquote star, like you said, coming out of high school, I was like top 30 players in the country. You know, like I'm McDonald's All American, alternate, whatever. You know, played at Nike camp, played against, Elton Brand and Ron Artest, and obviously in California, Jason and Jerry Collins, Jay Cotton, Band, all these guys who were top guys, and I'm holding my own. And like I said, when I went to college, it was just everybody was like that. You know, everybody was really good. So what I did was like just like I had to learn how to be a role player. You know, that was the only way I was gonna be. I wasn't gonna be a starter. You know, even with Jelani and Chris getting suspended, Chris Johnson, I came off the bench, and so like I was like, man, you know, like I had to learn how to just rebound, play good defense, help talk, you know what I'm
You had to
saying,
pay your
just
due.
be that kind of player. Yeah, play a role. Like I said, in high school, the ball went through me, and so like going to college at UCLA, especially that first year, I had to learn how to just like I said, be a role player. You know, essentially my first year, just to get on the court.
What? Let's fast forward a little bit from your freshman to your sophomore year. You play your sophomore year, and then you decide to transfer. What brought that on?
Well, pretty much I felt me and Coach Lavin, he's a great guy. But just we had differences of opinion on what my game was, you know. They thought I was like some 265, 270 banger kind of dude, you know, where I just bang, foul out, rebound like that.
Right.
I'm like, I never play like that, you know what I'm saying? Like of course I score and I rebound and I do all that, but like just that they wanted me to be something that I wasn't. And like I really thought my sophomore year was going to be my year. I came back, I worked hard, I lost weight. I really came in ready to play, start essentially. And like I told you, like he brought in the number one recruiting class again the following year. You know, that's when Matt Barnes and Jerron Rush and Dan Gazier, Jerome Wheatfield, Ray Young all came in together
Right.
along with us. And so me and like I said, like I thought that I was killing in practice, killing in everything. And he went and started the bigger name players ahead of me. And I'm just like, you know, like just because this dude has a bigger name or whatever, he's a McDonald's All American, that, you know, I felt that I should have started. I didn't. Whatever. As long as you play me, play me a certain time, I'm good. You know, like play me 20, 25 minutes a game or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I don't care if I start. But what happened that year was like I would play 25 minutes or 27 minutes and play 6 minutes without any explanation of why I wouldn't play. And then play 30 minutes, then play 2 minutes, then play 17 minutes, then three. And I didn't know how to prepare mentally for that. I was really struggling mentally. Because some games I would be like, whatever, he ain't gonna play me. Then he go, Travis,
Right.
get in there.
It's
you
hard to
know. And so
stay locked in.
started staying locked in. And some games I'd be like, ready to go, ready to play, ready. You know what I'm saying? Like real ready to go. And he'd be like, he would just sit me, and I would play like 5 minutes. And so I told myself like after the year, I can't play like this, you know. And I remember when I went into this office to, Lavin's office to say I'm transferring. He's like, Travis, you're a great player. We need you. All you got to do is this, and you'll play more. And I was like, Coach, I love you. I love UCLA. I always will. But I'm going to do my own thing, you know. And so that's why I transferred. If he would have played me consistently, and just I would have stayed I would have stayed at UCLA. I wouldn't have. I love UCLA. I wouldn't have left, but I wanted to play ball,
Right.
because at one point I thought I was going to quit basketball. I was going to just quit and go to school, and I didn't. Like it was a blessing for me not to, because I would have been the biggest mistake of my life. I felt.
How long did it take for you to, from the point you first started thinking about transferring to then really making a decision, going in the coach's office and say, okay, I'm going to leave? How long did it take?
Well, we lost in the first round of the tournament,
Mhm.
right? We lost in the first
So
round
you
of the
mean
tournament to
in your after your sophomore year, after your second year,
yeah.
so you lost,
First year
yeah.
we went to Sweet 16. We lost by sophomore year. We lost to we got upset to Detroit Mercy, one of those 4-13 upsets in the first round, right? So we had like a meeting after, and I was just like, dog, I don't, I was talking to my best friend at the time, Billy Nunn. I was like, dog, I don't know if I want to be here anymore, And he was like, bro, like we brothers, da da da. Try to, just think about it. And we had a meeting, and after the meeting, it was spring break. So I talked to my dad. Me and my dad talked like every day for like, I don't even know, like 5 hours a day, like the pros and cons of leaving UCLA kind of
Right.
thing. And, and then once we came back from spring break, that's when I knew. I'm like, he was like, Travis, do you want to play ball, or do you want to just be at UCLA? Just to be at UCLA. Like, you have skills, son. I believe you can make it from anywhere. You just did it in high school. In high school, I transferred from like a school called Crenshaw High School. Now, if you know California sports, Crenshaw High School is like the biggest city school in
Right.
history. It has 10 state championships, whatever, 20 city championships. Marcus Johnson went there. Chris Johnson went. Like a lot of dudes playing the NBA. I left that school, so if I can leave Crenshaw, I can leave UCLA. And so the time frame was probably 3 weeks, maybe, for me to go there, talk to my dad. And once I made that decision after I came back, I was like, I'm making it, even though I was nervous. I ain't gonna lie, I was nervous looking down, not even really talking to Lavin when I did it, kind of crying, you know what I'm saying? Because I love UCLA so much. I almost didn't do it, but I did it. And it was the best decision I made for me.
I totally feel you, because when I left Arizona, that I left very unceremoniously. I'm probably still a legend for how I left there. I'll have to tell you that.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
tell you
yeah,
that another
yeah.
time. But let's just say I walked out of McHale Center in bikers and socks. Let's just put it like that. And that's the last time I saw that court. Last time I saw that court. But that's another story. So
Yeah, yeah. If you listen to my podcast, you won't hear that story.
so we I mean, it was clear I was gonna leave, and I went to a JUCO after that, and then I went to Southern Utah and had 2 great years. But it was hard. It was hard because you feel like a failure. I felt like I let a lot of people down. Um, and I mean, I was young and dumb. No
Hmm.
way I would do that right now. But I was young and dumb and impatient. But I totally get it when you walk to that office and you tell them you're going to transfer. That's a tough thing to do. Um, so let's talk about now, like the move to playing overseas. Before you went to, where'd you go? Argentina first?
Bogota,
Colombia.
Colombia.
Before you went to Colombia, what did you know about playing overseas?
Nothing. Nothing at all. I didn't know where countries is at. You know what I'm saying? All I heard was at the time, like I said, like my boy he played in the D League, the D League at the time. My boy Rock Lloyd, he did a year in the D League, and he had just basically told me like, bro, it's just like college. It's 5 to a 2-bedroom apartment, and you living in Albuquerque, New Mexico, or Willacoochee, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Something like that, to where, like, you want to live that life, that's cool, but you can go overseas, go make, you know, that everybody always kind of pumps you up on the money. Like, you go make 300,000 overseas your first year out, And I'm like,
That shit ain't true.
yeah, no, it ain't
Oh,
true. You know what I'm
very,
saying? You gonna
very
make
true.
you be like, you be making 400,000 your first year out, bro. I'm like, and so like my eyes lit up like, what? And he told me how much they made in the D League.
Exactly.
He was like, man, they
Then they
make about
wasn't making
25.
nothing.
Nothing. They was making about 2,200 a month. And imagine the buses, they busing, bus. I was like, man, F that. I'm gonna hit them water. And so like I was gonna play in the summer league. I got invited to play for Memphis Grizzlies at the time on a summer league team. But I was like, rent was due. So I was like, I gotta go. I went across that water to Bogota. That same friend had an agent, was like, oh yeah, I can get you in Bogota, Colombia. You make like 5,000 a month. Whatever. All right, bet. That's how I went. That was my first,
So
I graduated in May, and in like June I was over in Bogota.
so it probably went pretty quick, and so you didn't have any time to really like investigate or anything like that. So what do you think?
Yeah.
I have my own opinion, but what do you think? Who is responsible for educating players to go overseas? Is it the player? Is it the agent? Whose responsibility is it to educate players? Because you said
Sometimes,
you didn't know anything.
yeah. Look, I would say this: like, it's former players. We've been over there. Like, some agents, they send you to places they ain't never been. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like the dude who sent me to Bogota, Colombia, he was a French dude. He ain't been to no Bogota, Colombia. You know what I'm saying? So I would tell anybody, like, try to get your information from players who actually was over there, and had decent experience over there. So because they know the ins and outs, they know where to go, they know where not to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, if Cocaine Cowboys would have came out back then, my mom would have been like, nah, nigga, you can't go. You know what I'm saying? Because I was in Medellin and all them places. You know what I'm saying? So, um, like I tell anybody, like, learn from the people that, you know what I'm saying, like, who've been there, actually been. That's probably the best education I got, was learning from people who did it.
I am
Here's the
Hey, I
promo
am
of the
known
book.
for shameless plugs, right? That's my name. I am not above shameless plugs. So now that I got that out of the way.
I threw that out of you pretty good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
caught
yeah.
that live. I caught
He
that one.
caught that and flushed that one easy. Yeah.
So looking back on your first year overseas in Colombia, is there anything that you would tell yourself back then now? What would you tell yourself back then?
Uh, Honestly, for Colombia,
Mhm.
mm, nah, I think I had to go through everything to learn everything. You know what I'm saying? It,
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
it showed me about the business. It showed me about the business, how, like, like, money was wise, and like they wasn't paying them, the other Americans, what they were supposed to make. I was getting the least amount because I was a rookie, so I was making like 4,000 a month. They were making like 12,000, but they were only giving them like 10. So the other Americans was like, man, fuck that, we out. So after 2 months of getting 10 and 10, they both left. But I was getting like 4,000. They was like, yeah, this ain't shit to bet what they pay him. So I was all right. I'm gonna rock with y'all. Then I left. After they left, I was like, a couple weeks later, I just left. You know, like I had signed a contract to go to Poland while I was in Bogota,
Okay.
Colombia. I showed the OG dudes, the other American dudes, like, do your thing, my bro. You know what I'm saying? And like ball out, you know. And now you can bounce. But you're getting money somewhere else now. You can bounce whenever.
Right.
So I might have stayed maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit more money, but it's whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to learn, go through those things to kind of learn, like the ups and downs. I learned very, very early the business side of overseas.
I mean, nobody can take the experience. Somebody can tell you,
Yeah,
hey, your money might be funny sometimes. Uh, your apartment, the water might not be working all the time, but you got to you got to seriously go through it to understand it and to to go through it. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take that experience away from you or warn you enough, because you might think, oh, okay, my money's late. It's gonna be two days late, bruh. Come on, man. Come on, man. I have to say I was damn lucky. I didn't have no problems like that in my whole career. I didn't have no problems except for one time, but I got all my money.
okay.
But I know cats that was getting just really robbed, and but you can't warn somebody about that, because it might happen to you, it might not happen to you,
Yeah,
and that's just a
yeah.
part of it's kind of like a part of the initiation process.
Baptism process of overseas basketball, man. Like you're 100% right on that money thing. Like I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. I've dealt with it myself. You know what I'm saying? Where teams will come in and promise the world, quote unquote, not play the player. I thought I learned what a contract really was when you would go overseas. Obviously, maybe we'll get into it, but um, when I signed in Poland, I thought it was an actual contract for the
Mm-hmm.
season. And,
Just try out.
and yeah, like me and the other American got there or whatever, and it was like we had a game. And we're kind of passing it to see what we got on our team, like
Mm-hmm.
the Polish dudes or whatever. And I remember I got a call from my agent the next day. He was like, dude, they don't cut you. I'm like, what are you talking about? We just played one practice game. I had 12 points or something, 15 points. I'm just seeing what I got on my team. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, dog, you need to score. You need to start killing. Ain't, don't I have a year cut? What do you mean? And he was like, no, it's a tryout. I'm like, I
Bruh.
signed all this paperwork for it. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so it was it was an insane kind of awakening of like, oh shit. So it ain't all what you think. Like you gotta ball out from day one,
Mm-hmm.
unless you a vet and going to your same old
Yeah.
team, or the coach or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
case is. You gotta ball out from day one.
Hey, that's so true, man. It's crazy, And in that instance, when you went to Poland, I'm trying to think, like, why didn't your agent tell you that? Why didn't he tell you were there on a tryout? Maybe to alleviate pressure, you know, not that you thought, okay, I got to do this, I got to be this player or whatever, but at least warn a brother and say, yo, this is not a guaranteed contract, man. You better go out there and ball out.
Like I said, that I didn't know, and he, like I said, he sent me over there. And he told me after, like, oh, it was a trial. I was like, well, damn, thanks. But he said they wasn't gonna keep you anyway because I remember I told you on
Yeah,
my
yeah.
podcast, I was like, they cut me because I wasn't 6'10". So they was gonna cut me when they saw me. Didn't matter what I did, supposedly, you know. And they was like, nah, you ain't 6'10", so we cutting them. And so like after the next three games, I had 2010, 2010, 2010. They still cut me,
Mhm.
you know.
Oh, they had their mind
And
made
so
up. They had
they
their
had their
mind made
mind
up.
made up when they saw me. And so like I was like, okay, well, what I'm saying? Like it would be good to know this. It'd be good to know that I was on a tryout. he let me know after on every other one after that. But
Right.
you like that's when I realized like, oh, so this contract basically don't mean shit unless you're a vet.
Even then, depending
And even then,
on the
they still
depending
got
on the team. Even then. So
you.
then you stuck in the Netherlands, in Holland, right?
Well, I would say like, I went from Poland and I think I told, well, maybe I didn't tell you, like I went from Poland. I was on the flight home. They called me off the flight as an emergency flight, get off the flight, like I got a job for you in France because I was going home. And they called me off the flight, like, oh yeah, like paging Travis Reed, whatever. So I get off the flight, I go to France. My bag is too heavy. I don't have the money to exchange, so I have to leave my bag in Poland. I go to France with just the clothes
Wait,
on my
hold
back,
on, hold
my
on. You had to
tennis
leave
shoes.
your bag in Poland at the
Yes,
airport.
yep.
Is it probably still there?
No, they threw that away. I guarantee they threw that shit away.
So
They threw that away.
you
I'm
went
pretty
you
sure they
went with
was like,
the clothes on your back. Wow.
and a PlayStation that I had, my PlayStation, my clothes on my back. That's it.
Wow.
So I lost all pictures from college,
Wow.
it's a bunch of shit. You know what I'm saying? So tennis shoes, like I had boots on, whatever. I had my game tennis shoes and the PlayStation, and that was it.
Wow.
And clothes on my back. Went to France for 2 weeks. They had a washing machine, but it was in French. So I'm hand washing this shit because I don't understand French.
Oh, the
You
joy.
know what I'm saying? Yeah, they didn't really feed me. They didn't say shit to me. They have nobody's phone number except for my agents. I had like he said, oh yeah, they're gonna give you automatic, like car. They gave me a stick. Didn't know how to drive a stick, so I have a car, but it's just sitting, and I don't know how to drive that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, 2 weeks, and when I get there, there's another American I got to go against every day, right? And so, like, I have to go against him before practice with the juniors, then practice against him at practice, and then after practice, go against him one on one
They put you through the ringer.
through the ringer. And then we playing preseason games, and I'm not a hater or nothing like that. I'm like kind of wanting him to do good, but I'm kind of wanting him to fall down and twist an ankle or something. You know what I'm saying? So like, eventually I beat him out, and it's just me still on the next week tryout with the team. And the coach was like, he was kind of like a jerk in a way. I'm like, I'm learning how to play while I'm playing. They're like, well, you're a good player, but we're looking for something a little bit different, blah, 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 blah. All right. So they send me, at least they give me some money. And they send me to the airport, whatever. My agent calls me at the airport saying, just stay in Paris. I'm going to be there in 2 days. So I, just find a hotel. So he calls the team picks me up from the airport.
Man, you
Takes
got
me
you
to a
got
hotel.
problems at airports, man. I ain't never taken
Yeah,
a
that's what
flight
I'm
with you,
saying,
man.
bro.
I ain't
Look,
never
the
been on a
team.
flight with you, man.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. Like I was like, the team in France was like we called the team, whatever. I mean, the bag in Poland, they threw it away. So so nothing. I had hand washed my shit every day. My shorts, my
This wow.
drawers, everything, just hand wash. And so I'm just like, man, this is crazy, bro. I get to Paris. I mean, they give me like, basketball shorts and
Yeah,
whatever, but that's pretty much it
yeah.
for practice. Um, and so, like I said, I go to France, Paris, stay in a hotel, thinking he's gonna be there in 2 days. He comes like 8 days later.
Ooh,
So
I
I'm
hope he
stuck eating
reimbursed
McDonald's.
you.
No, he gave me like half. He bought me some clothes. He gave me like
Okay,
half.
okay,
He bought me
okay,
some clothes.
okay.
All right. And like I ate McDonald's every day because that was it. It was right across the street. So after that, I didn't eat McDonald's for nothing. Um, so I go there. He has like some of his French connections pick me up. We go to a friend, like a game in the league. We go to the club for the first time, so that was cool. But he gets there, and then we drive to Belgium. The coach gets fired in Belgium, so another coach comes in and wants all his own players. So
Dude,
I'm the
you are
American that
like
protects him.
bad luck Bobby out there, man. Jesus Christ, man.
So I remember the coach who coached that team. He came to Holland like the next year, so I'll bust his ass every time. I was like, every time I see you, I'm gonna bust your ass. But yeah. So after that, I fired my agent. I'm in Belgium, right? Not knowing what the fuck to do. Called my pops, like, what I'm gonna do, pops? I guess I'm gonna come home and be a teacher. And he was like, "The fuck, a teacher, son? Like, you better figure out to get a team." I called my girlfriend at the time, and she like, "What you gonna do, nigga?" Like, I'm thinking she gonna give me some sympathy, and she like, "Nah, what you gonna do? You got to figure out what you're gonna do." So I called the old agent that I had, another agent that wanted me, and he was like, "I got a job for you in Holland. It's only $1,500 a month, but it's a job, a tryout." At that point, I'm like, "Fuck it. I've been in here for 2 months.
Fuck it.
You know what I'm saying?
I ain't got
Whatever.
no
Fuck it.
band.
So I
I
got
got
nothing.
fired on my
I
day
just got the
off.
clothes. I got the clothes on the back. You know what I'm saying? And like some clothes that my agent bought me. I go to Holland. I practice with them for a couple of days. We play the best team in the league. They beat us by 30. I'm thinking like, oh, they're going to cut me.
I'm
But
gone.
I have like 30 because I had 30 because I'm shooting that bitch every time I got it. But the coach kept me. I'm like, thanks, coach, for the opportunity. I was like, wait, we're keeping you. I was like, wait, what? Kind of shocked. And so he kept me. And that's how I ended up in Holland. That was my first year overseas. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Like I only ended up making $1,500 a month. But like that first 2 months, it humbled me to the point where I would have damn near took anything, just to hoop, just to keep playing.
Hey, I got mad respect for you, dog, because that story is crazy, man. There's not a lot of dudes that would have stuck it out. Now, I'm being serious. There's not a lot of dudes that would have stuck that out because that's some next level welcome to Europe shit that you went through, man. You done lost bags or get thrown away, getting called off flights. Like, damn, I was lucky. I was lucky.
That's
All
what I
right, so
said. Like that was my first year, bro. I got like you talk about get baptized.
mhm.
I got baptized like boom. You know what I'm saying? Like that year, crazy.
I'm jumping around because we starting to get low on time. But so you ended up playing in Estonia, Romania, Australia, and Germany as well. Was it difficult to change your style of play according to the different countries that you played in?
Yes. Germany was probably Romania and Germany were a little different because like they had to have you only could have certain players on, and like Germany was like you had to have 3 Germans on the court
Right,
at one time,
right, yeah,
and so like like you had to basically split time
right,
with the foreigners.
right.
Same with Romania was like you only could have like a couple foreigners on the court at the
Mhm,
same time. Like Holland was basically like like the States because like
mhm,
some teams had like 7, 8 Americans. Estonia was cool because they didn't really have enough money. They would go get a high, like that's when I was making my most money in Estonia. So they would pay me like 150,000 or whatever it was.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying at the time. So it would be me and one more American or one more foreigner. Um, to hoop. So like it was just regular. But like Holland was like it was a lot of teams. Every team had at least 2, 3
mhm.
Americans.
Yeah. Was there a sense of pressure when you started making a little bit more money? Like, okay, now I'm making a little bit more dough. I got to perform better, or did you feel
Of
that at all?
course, whenever a team loses, if you a highest paid American, you
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like it's also the pressure to
Yeah,
perform, period. Like
yeah.
I remember when we like I was in Holland my second year in Groningen. I know some of them is on here right now. Shout out to Groningen. Um, we won the championship, right? And we were practicing July 31st, like full practice. July. I got there July 30th. We practiced full, or 28th. We practiced like full hard practice from July 31st, and we didn't finish till like May 30th. So by the end of the season, I'm like dead. You know, come back in the States, my boys playing in some pro league, so I play in that like literally like 2 weeks, and then I'm training to get back for the next year because I signed back with the same team.
Right.
And then I had like a bad stretch because I was exhausted. They was thinking about cutting me, like the coach. I'm like, I just gave you a championship, MVP of the season, MVP of the league. We won the championship last year. And they were just like,
what have you done for me lately?
And so granted I bounced back, and I got my second win, and I finished, but like like it was more pressure because like you come in with this high expectation.
Right.
And sometimes it's impossible to
fulfill.
You know what I'm saying? But like if you was in a country for a certain amount of time, like I was in Holland for like 4 years, I would have got picked up by another team if they would have cut me. But like, some Americans, like go from team to team to team, country to country. Like they get cut, because they come in with this big expectation of money.
Yes, sir. I know you got a couple titles. What's your favorite title? Which of your titles is your favorite?
I gotta say the Holland one because it was unexpected. We finished third in the league. We beat the number one team the last game of the season to make them the 2 seed and us the 3 seed. We matched up better with them than we did the second place team in the league. And it was so unexpected. Like we went to the first round. You know how it is. First round is like best of 3, best of 5, best of 7.
Right.
And best of 3, we won 2-0. We took that same team, best of 5. We were down 20 in their house in game 5 at their house. Francisco Ellison is there because he's Dutch. He was there watching me. I played against him in college. He went to Cal. And we come back. We win game 5 on the road. They bum rush the court. They take off my jersey. They carry me off the court with my jersey like off. I'm just wearing my wife beater. The fans are carrying me off the court. And so like the finals, we end up beating my old team, the team that I played for the year before, in the finals. And we beat them in their house, my old place. And just, they carried me off the court, whatever. Like, it was insane, bro. Like, that was probably my best championship.
That European ball love right there.
Yeah, like,
I know.
It was one of those, like, dude, like, that, because we stayed like a week after, you know what I'm saying? We celebrated so much. Like, I don't remember too much after because it was, we were just celebrating every single day. Everybody, come to the club, come. We shut it down for you guys, And so it was just like that for a whole week.
I'm really jumping around right now. Let's talk real quick about injuries. You had a injury with your leg. What went on with that?
Stress fracture. I had stress fracture in my shin. So I got it in my 5th year overall in Holland. So my last year in Holland, I got a stress fracture in my shin. So they put a steel rod in my shin. Right. My bone was cracked. Basically, it was from overuse, essentially, because I didn't really take breaks because we would play for so long in Holland. And then I would come back home, take 2 weeks off, and then get right back to training. So I didn't let my body really recover and heal. So I had a stress fracture. So I steel rod in my shin. Played that year, came back early because they were losing, so they forced me back early. You know how that goes. We were losing. We were like in last place. And me and the other American both got injured. This other guy named Travis. So like they brought me back, and then we started winning. And they brought him back, and then we ended up being like 3rd place or whatever. We finished 3rd. The next year I was fine, and then the year after that, I went to Estonia after that. Next year I was fine. The year after that, I got injured again. My other leg for overcompensating. So I got another stress fracture, another crack in my other shin. So what they did was they took the rod out and they put a steel plate over both my shins that year. And so I missed a lot of time that year, even though they kept me. Um, they were kind of forcing me to try to play in the finals. I didn't want to do it. It was like, just take a cortisone shot in your knees. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Yeah. And they wanted me to take
That's
that.
heavy.
Yeah. I had a meeting with my teammates. I remember I took them all out to dinner. And I asked them, like, what do y'all think? Should I play? And I was like, man, fuck no. You know, you have your career after this, bro. This is
Players
just
know.
one thing. Yeah, and it was like, hell no. These are Estonian players, not the Americans. These Estonian players telling me this. It's like, man, hell no, don't play. And what I should have done was I should have signed a contract for the next year, and they would have paid for my surgery. So they said, "Oh, you're not gonna play. You're not gonna take your shit in your knee." But my agent basically said, no matter what they say, don't sign the contract for next year. I'm gonna get you somewhere else. And I'm like, all right. So I don't sign. They make me pay for my own surgery. It's like 45 racks or whatever it was. You know, I had to pay for it while I was over there to get the shins in my, the plates in my shins. I go home, rehab. I'm playing pickup to get ready to sign a contract. I'm about to sign a contract in Germany, 2 years, 460, right? Like 200 plus a year, 2 years. I'm playing pickup. The dude falls, kicks me in my shin, cracks it to like basically it would have been better if you just broke it all the way. Cracks it to the end, basically to the end of it. And basically my career after that was just never the same. Uh, you know, obviously I come back and play ball. It took me basically a whole year off,
Yeah.
ball. Granted, it was my greatest blessing because my son was, I got my baby's mom pregnant with my son, but like, yeah, my career was never the same. The money was never the same.
Yeah.
It just was like I was just different from there
How
on out.
is your mental when you're going through all that? You're overseas like 9, 10 months out of the year. You know you're not totally fit. Um, what is your mental like? Like, were you homesick? How did you get through that?
Well, when I was injured,
Yeah.
or yeah,
Yeah,
like
I mean,
pretty
but you
much
were
I was
still
definitely
no, but you were still over in Estonia at first, and you're not everybody knows their own body. You know you're not 100%. So how does that affect your mental?
look. I would say this: I was popping pills like they
Mm,
were popping the leaf like they were fucking Skittles. You know
mm,
what I'm saying? So it got to the point where I'm popping two, I'm popping four, I'm popping six, I'm popping eight, I'm popping 10 before the game. So I'm popping like 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 4 at night before the game just to play. I'm popping like 8 just to practice, 7. So I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, bro, like, I don't know, like at that time, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. My dad is like, son, like, how long you plan on doing this? I'm like, Dad,
mm,
I don't know. I want to keep hooping. Like, I don't know what I am without ball.
yeah.
So,
That's,
and that's kind of like, like that was my mental mindset. I was like, I need this. I can't not play this. So I had my mama, like my mom, she would just ship me, leave, like those 250 bottles, like 4 or 5 of them at a time. So I had a plethora of just pop, 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 pop. Um, and people wonder why like athletes be like, because they do anything to play.
yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So like I didn't want to take any cortisone shots, anything like that. So I was just popping them and leave. Like I said, like it was that was my mindset. I missed home, especially now that I had a son, but I was doing anything to play.
Mm,
I wanted to play.
mm. Now that you mentioned it earlier, you're out 10 years. You retired 10 years ago. What do you miss the most about playing?
I would say I miss the games. Like the
Mm,
games is like
mm.
fun. You know what I'm saying? You know how it is. Like people don't know how like crowds get rowdy in the States, but
Not
the
like over here.
overseas
Yeah,
crowds is on another
yeah,
level.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I remember we played that team in Greece, uh, where they throw the toilet paper on the floor,
Mm,
right before the
yeah.
game, and they have to clean it up. They stops the game.
Stop the game.
Like I was like, man, that's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when I was in Holland, man, they be singing, jumping, dancing, like uh opening tire flares, tire things. And, oh, then they be dancing and man, that shit. I still give me a hype looking at this. You know what I'm saying? I miss the fans and like I just miss the games. You know what I'm saying? Practice is whatever, and the people were great. But like I miss them games, man, and like them home games where you score and they screaming you just like you know like you be
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I miss the
I
most.
know, I
Honestly.
know. Um, before
And the
we get
money.
off, I gotta make sure. I gotta make sure I want to pub your podcast as well. So, can you tell the good people out there where they can find your podcast and like what it's all about and everything as well?
No problem. Pretty much, my I have three of them. So if whatever your fancy is my main one is Travis Reed and Athlete's Journey. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Google Music. You can find them. Mostly
Mhm.
Spotify is obviously the big one. And that is basically what happened was I had a best friend named Billy Knight. He played 16 years overseas. I played 10. And he retired and started coaching, but really didn't really know what he wanted to do after
Right.
ball, and he committed suicide. And yeah, and so like after that, my mind was just
Lost.
all over the place,
Mm.
lost. You know what I'm saying? And then my son asked me, he was like, "Dad, like, how was your overseas career?" And I was just like, "Son, that's a long and complicated answer, right?
Nah, really?
Really long and really complicated." So I told him that, and then like I was like, all right. I thought in my head for like I don't know, a couple months. Then I thought podcast, and that's when I said, all right, I'm gonna do a podcast and talk about just my overseas life.
Mm,
And so many dudes basically was like, dude, I want to tell my story, and that's how an athlete's journey came about because so many other dudes had weird and crazy stories like mine. And they were like, dude, like then I started interviewing people and start interviewing a lot of, different athletes, men, women,
mm,
all that, from basketball, football, baseball, just their journeys.
mm.
And so like, yeah. And that's how an athlete's journey kind of, came to fruition, if you want to say. And I've been doing it now for, I don't know, like a couple years now. So I get to interview people like yourself, great people like yourself. And like I said, I've just been, loving the experience of doing it and just keep sharing people's journeys. And like, people need to know, man, like athletes, everybody wants to know, like, everybody's on the athletes, like kind of like jock when they're hooping and when they're playing or whatever
Right.
sport they playing. And then when it's done, it's like that, it's gone. And people want like, where's Travis or where's John? Da 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 da. Like it's so hard to figure out that next thing for an athlete.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I did it for other athletes, like future athletes, trying to hoop overseas, NBA, college, whatever. Like you have an outlet, like if you ever need somebody like venture stuff too, it's cool, like and that's why I did it.
I mean, I think there's more and more athletes these days that are giving back. I remember when I was playing, no, it was all about themselves. Every player was all about themselves, and they kept a lot of things secret. I mean, you threw out numbers today, how much you made and stuff like that. Back then, nobody did that, right? So
Mhm.
I think it's really great to give back to the game that gave you so much, and that's why I do what I do as well. And I appreciate the fact that you had a tragedy in your life and you turned that into then something positive. Your boy's proud of you. You know what I'm saying? Okay, man.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I, I got a couple little quick questions, real quick for you. Then I'm gonna let you get out of here.
No problem.
Uh, so the first thing is I got I got a couple phrases or words, and you just tell me the first thing that pops in your mind.
All right.
Um, favorite food overseas that you didn't think you was gonna like.
Easy for me. It was fries and mayonnaise in Holland. dude, when I first got introduced to it, I was like, oh hell no. You know what I'm saying? That's a hell of a terrible mix. Then I went to like one of those shops after like a club.
Oh,
Woo,
it's
that shit was
on then.
fire, boy, fire.
You mentioned it earlier, but I want to get it off the top of your head. Fatherhood.
Oh, for me, it was, my son is the greatest blessing in my life, and obviously I was blessed to have my dad still in my life, so it was big, like I said, when you're overseas and he's not there, my son wasn't there with me, it was hard. It became so much more harder,
Yeah.
I thought about home so much more because I had him at home.
What was your on the court, your welcome to Europe moment, where you were like, Dorothy, we are not in Kansas anymore.
Oh, that's easy. Like when I was in Bogota, Colombia, right? We played in the gym where it was like a cement gym, no windows, right? No windows. It was concrete seats, right? Concrete seats, no seats, right? And in the gym, the court had a gate around it, a fence. I was like, oh shit, And then I told you that's when it was having flares, and like the gangsters was like the owners of the team, and so like I was like, man, I'm not in California no more, man. I just hope they don't bury my ass out here.
And you know
Like,
why
they
you
was
know
like,
why they
they
didn't
was
have
on
no seats. You know why they had no seats?
what?
Because they would rip them things up and started throwing them at you.
I'm telling you, bro, there was a fence around the court. Like they locked that thing.
Y'all was playing in
When
prison.
yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I was like, and they were like I said, that's what they would do the flares. And all, I mean, Columbia was so crazy. You have no idea, bro.
Okay, last thing. I got kiss, kill, and marry for 3 countries that you played in. You got to kiss one, you got to marry one, you got to kill one. Okay, I just chose
All right.
random. All right,
Okay.
I got a feeling
Okay.
I got a feeling I'm you going I know what you're gonna go with. So, kiss, kill, marry. Holland, Germany, Estonia. Which
Oh
one do
my
you?
God.
Which one are you kiss, killing, and marrying?
All right. All right. All right. Well, I guess the kill. I mean, I love Germany, but they got to go. They the first Germany.
Okay,
All right. So kill them.
okay.
Marry.
You got
Or
marry and
kiss.
kiss. You got marry and kiss left.
Oh my God. Damn. All right. I guess I would say kiss Estonia because I love Estonia, but I got to marry Holland. I played four of my 10 years in Holland, won my championship in Holland. Like, growing against off the chain.
Okay. Yo, that's it, man. You hit the shot at the buzzer. We're gonna let you get on. I'm gonna call up. I got a connection in Poland and see if your bag is still there. I'll let you know. I'll get back to you and let you know. Maybe we can get
Yeah, man. Hey,
your
dude, I
old
have
gear.
college pictures, all that, man. I need my bag back.
I got a hookup out there, so I'm gonna see what I can do about your bag. But nah, man. Hey, I appreciate you coming on, man. I really do. And I wish you all the best and continued success with the podcast and everything else you do in your life, brother. I'm glad we came across each other. Like I always say, like that's the power of the internet for good, that gets us into contact. I'm on your show, you're on my show. We get to tell our stories. Maybe it can help somebody. And that's the real power of the internet. And I appreciate everything that you're doing, man. Keep it up, because we need people to give back for our basketball community. And keep doing what you're doing, brother. And get on up out of here. I appreciate you, my man. And yeah, we're gonna talk anyway. We're gonna talk anyway.
No, we
We're
good.
good.
We
We're
gonna continue to
good. We're
talk.
good.
Like I
We're
said,
good.
I appreciate you coming. Appreciate you coming on mine. I appreciate you inviting me to yours, Sean, man. Oh, follow me at Travis W.
Yes,
Reed
thank
on
you.
Instagram and Travis W. Reed on Facebook as well. I post all my stuff, everything I'm doing on both those sites, So if you want to see like the show, Athlete's Journey, Believe in UCLA, he said, she said, all the shows, like all that get posted on Instagram and Facebook.
All right, brother. Thank you. Get on up out of here. Let me say goodbye to these people. You don't have to stick around for that, looking all crazy in front of the camera and shit.
I got you.
All right, man. We're gonna talk.
All right, sir. All right.
So, teammates, once again, a great episode is in the books. I think this is like my 70th episode. That's crazy. I never intended to do this so long. But another really good one. I appreciate him coming on, Travis coming on. He had a crazy story as far as his European journey is concerned. And I think all of us have some kind of crazy journey when we come overseas that has to be told. And so that's what this platform is for. Hope somebody can learn from his experiences as well. Next week, I've got two episodes coming up, and two really cool ones that I'm really looking forward to. And I hope to see some of you back. Those of you that are watchers, continuous watchers, thank you very much. For those of you who just popped in, whether it was for a minute or the whole hour and 5 minutes that we were on live, I appreciate you. And yeah, stay tuned for my guests for next week. Other than that, until then, have a good one. Be safe. Old head out.